Okay, welcome to the Trading Buddy Futures and Forex forecast for the week of February the 19th. It's good to be with you, Trading Buddies. Sorry I missed last week. I have been ill and I haven't been getting better. I'm actually planning on going out of state to a clinic that is supposed to help me get on track. I'll be doing that in a couple weeks. So I appreciate all of your patience as we try to put out more content, try to continue to trade, and it is a blessing to trade when you're dealing with a chronic illness. But I tell you, I mean, it's hard enough to trade when you're not dealing with illness. So I hope you have your strategies in place and you have your risk management in place, and you know what you're doing because it's hard enough to deal with, the ups and downs of trading in the markets when you're also dealing with illness. And I've been through a lot of that over the years because this has been a long-term thing. But trading has been kind of a huge blessing in respect. So I'm just going to do a quick glance at what next week could bring. Now, remember that President's Day is on Monday, and most of you will probably be watching this either Sunday or Monday. And so the markets will be closed. We'll take a look at the Forex markets. They'll still be open and moving, but let's just take a look at what the short week may provide. We'll start with the ES here, the stock market. We did get a down day on Friday. We are hitting some resistance. The advanced decline line is still pretty strong. I was expecting with a Tuesday down day for some more selling. I'm expecting a sell-off to happen here. I think it's going to happen. I don't know how far it's going to, retrace before the bullishness just continues. I don't see any end in sight when it comes to this bullishness. But if you're looking to go short, put your stops above these pivots here. If it keeps going up, then you want to be out soon and quick. But the risk reward right now, if it decides to go down next week, I think it actually might have a little bit of a recovery going forward, just depending on what this advanced decline line decides to do. But we've been in overbought territory for a while, and typically the seasonal tendency in the mid-February to mid-March is for the stock market to struggle a little bit. So I am expecting, if anything, just a halt to the bullishness and possibly, a sell back down to the 4900s. So we'll see if that happens next week. But for now, we're just gonna keep our powder dry unless we see something really substantial as far as news or steps a substantial move that we can, catch the momentum with. Let's take a look at the precious metals. Silver was probably about 13 cents away from my stop. I was really concerned about it getting stopped out down in this 21 region. I think it's at 2184 is my stop. And luckily on Wednesday and Thursday and Friday, we got this nice reversal back to the upside. And so my targets are still up in this 24, 25, 25 range that I've been waiting pretty much the last month. And so a month of pain and almost getting stopped out. And it's nice to be away from those stops on silver. And so I'm just waiting to see if silver gets back up to that 24, 2450 region. And so let me just take that off there. Sorry about that. If you're looking to go long the precious metals, I'd probably wait for a little bit of a pullback on silver. It's in this consolidation area. So for now, look to be a seller up in that 2450, 25 area. Gold is similar. It's held this low over here. I was expecting it to kind of come down a little bit farther into the 1900s, but it's held its own a little bit. Silver has shown a lot more strength over the last couple of days than gold has. But with that hot inflation report, you never know what could happen. The precious metals may return to kind of the higher sides at the beginning of the year, the end of last year. And so we should see a little bit more bullishness. But again, if you want to get long, I would wait for a little bit of a pullback or a formation of a higher low and getting back long on one of those formations. But for now, if you're on the sideline, it's probably an okay thing. I don't expect a large move in the precious metals. Our bullishness in crude has paid off a little bit. We got in at about 72. 50, I believe, was my target. We had our stops down in here, and we are doing really well with that particular trade. I am thinking about taking profits since we're up in here, but it does feel like it wants to keep on going. And like I mentioned a couple weeks ago, 2 or 3 weeks ago, that we do have seasonal trends of the energy markets to rally in January, February, March, times of the year. So I'm expecting more bullishness in the energy markets. Oddly enough, I do have a position on natural gas, and it is actually just you can see it's just kind of fallen out of bed here, which is strange because of the seasonal tendency. And so right now, if you are not long, wait for a formation of a higher low. So what we're looking for is a break of this trend of support low being created, and then a formation of a higher low where you get like a 3 bar reversal or a break of that high, and then that's your entry into the back to the upside. You can see how oversold we are, but that usually happens when it comes to some of these commodities. They can just keep on running regardless of how long. Look at what happened over here when it just kind of fell out of bed. But this is exactly what we're looking for here, as we did over here, where it had this long run, it formed a base, came back down, and then it created that higher low. So that's what we're looking for. See, that created a higher low. It broke above that. That would have been an entry, and then it went off to the races. Now, I was kind of expecting this to be a longer term low and it to be to hold, and then this to form an intermediate term lower, higher low, and then for it to go up. But it's come out of bed, so I had to get stopped out and waiting for that formation to happen. So that's what we're looking for in natural gas. Soybeans is the same story. Now, I wanted to show you actually, if I could, if you bear with me here, I'm going to show you a different screen that I normally don't, since these are proprietary, paid for indicators that Larry Williams sells. Uh, I don't use them on a weekly basis, but on this particular week, I wanted to show you why I'm bullish the soybean market. You can see that the right in here, the red line is the commercial index, and you can see they are very bullish. And when they get bullish, you can see that eventually the market goes up. And right here, the market went up. Right here, the market went up. Right here, the market went up. So we are in that area, and we've been in it for a while. So I'm expecting this market to turn and get back up into I don't know how long it'll take to get to 1400s, but I'm expecting them to get back up into those ranges based off of those commercial net positions. This is also Larry Williams' valuation against the dollar, gold, and bonds. And also the stock market, you can see that soybeans undervalued against all of those. And see what happened over here when they became undervalued. The markets rallied, undervalued. The markets rallied. So there's a couple of reasons why I'm sticking to my bullish stance here on soybeans. And similarly on the other wheat, soybean meal is another one where commercials are just jumping in. And usually we'll see the same thing happen with wheat and corn as well. So that's what I'm waiting for. If you're waiting for an entry, wait until you can look at the 1197, 1200 area. Again, a formation of a higher low and move back to the upside. So thanks for bearing with me on this particular market. Again, the same thing on wheat, but you can see that wheat has been selling off a little bit more here, and it's down to these lows. And so, if this bullishness is going to start, it's going to have to start, because if it breaks this low, I am out waiting for a new entry, and was definitely wrong on the fact that I thought it was going to go bullish here. So at this point, just waiting to see what the market's going to decide to do, and hopefully we get another silver situation where we got really close to the stop, but then it rallied away from it. Remember a couple weeks ago when I said that I took bond profits right up here at the 124.16 area, ended up being pretty much the top, and it's just fallen right back out of bed. And then we said, what did we say? Let's stay on the sidelines and see what it's going to do, and it's fallen back out of bed. So at this point, I'm waiting to see if it's gonna keep coming down back into this region, the 116. If it really starts to make a move back to the upside, I'll probably jump on long. But at this point, again, we'll just keep our eyes on bonds, and they're the most heavily traded commodity, most volume, and it's just fun to trade. if you're on the right the right side of it. So the moral of this story is stick to your plan, wait for some good new entries, and stay on the sidelines if you don't know where it's going to go. Okay, let's take a look at our Forex markets now. Here is the dollar yen. Ever since the beginning of the year, I was expecting the dollar to kind of have some weakness because of the expectations of the interest rates to be lowered. But because of a couple of reports and a hot inflation rate coming out, everybody's expecting them to delay those interest rate cuts, which is good for the dollar, meaning, it's you're still getting paid more to hold the dollar. And so against the yen, it's just rallied right back up to these highs to the 150 area. So I don't expect that to change anytime soon. I was kind of looking for some lower high to be created at this point and then coming back down to test this area. That's not happening. This could easily break the previous highs unless the Bank of Japan does something or says something to push the yen back down. I'm not really seeing that happening. So look for buy signals in the dollar yen, maybe pullbacks back down into here or a break of this. I would kind of wait for this longer term, maybe 151, to see if it kind of stops up there and then wait for a pullback. So I'm kind of on the sidelines when it comes to the dollar yen. Okay, let's take a look at the pound sterling. This is another one that we like to trade. The last week or so, it has tried to attempt to go higher back in this consolidation range and come back down. So I'm actually expecting with the dollar to have a little bit more strength. I'm expecting it to come back into the 2400s. We'll just have to see. This low right here is actually holding pretty steady, pretty well. So we'll just have to see if this these old lows are kind of where it wants to stay, or if it's going to break up to the upside or break to the downside. I expect to the downside. I've got some small short positions here to see if it's going to keep going down. If not, we'll change our stance and see what happens next week. The euro is the same story. You can see that we've been in this downward channel. We're right back up to where, hey, it decides on, well, let's see if we can go back to the downside. So it's come right back down into these 107 areas. I think it can come back down into the oh 06 areas as well. So shorts against the euro against the dollar here. The yen hasn't obviously been as strong as the dollar, and so the euro has had its own heyday against the yen, just like the dollar has. And so I expect the euro yen to continue upwards back to these highs in the 163 area. Right now, it's at these highs right here, so I expect a break and a pullback. That would be a great place to start building a position. And even if it comes back down into here and your stops right into the 160 area, but I do expect more bullishness in the euro yen. Okay, well, that's going to be it for me this week. I again appreciate your patience with all of the classes that I've had on deck and planned, but had to cancel. I am going, like I said, out of state to get some help and see if we can't get a handle on it. I've been dealing with this sickness for a long time, but it's gotten worse over the last few months, and so we're trying to figure it out here. So thanks again for being patient. If you like this content, please like and subscribe, and hope you have a great week trading. Take care.